I'm gonna keep this show rolling. Please give it up for your next guest, Mr. Mike Rogers. Round of applause. Okay.
Hey, everybody! I was super excited when they told me I was coming to a dive bar because it's been kind of a lonely year, and I usually do pretty good in dive bars. But it looks like gentrification already fucked this place over, so I ain't getting any. Actually, just hold it for a second, everybody. I just see a little something up here. I don't have a lot of games, so this isn't going to take very long. How you living? You single? Oh, you're married? Are you happy? Well, from the sounds of it, you're happy for now. You ever decide you want to get real disappointed? You come look me up. I'll give you the most disappointing 38 seconds on my mother's couch you've ever seen. Let's get weirdly depressing. Anyway, it's been a little bit of a rough year for me. I find myself for about 10 years, the first time I have been single. And, woo! The fear of dying alone on my mother's couch. No, it died this year too. That also adds to the depression. It's wonderful. Dying alone is definitely part of the terrifying, but it's definitely not the most terrifying part. The most terrifying part about being single at 35, and for those of you who have been to St. John, living in St. John, is what the women look like, or even men at this point, it's been a desperate year, that might fuck this. I mean, it's terrifying. It's usually too many kids, not enough teeth, maybe some sort of a hump. If I'm real lucky and somebody's willing to slum it pretty hardcore, I might find somebody with low self-esteem and a limp. But really, take a look at the kind of women that might fuck this stable, financially unsecure kind of guy. I'm sorry, don't look too hard though. Much like the deep dark abyss, they might look back into you and follow you home and make you raise their shitty, ugly kids. Joke's on them, though. Not enough room on my mom's couch for all of us. I wasn't going to do this, but seeing as the Band-Aid was already ripped off, speaking of going home and sucking off a shotgun, I am sick and fucking tired of all my friends killing themselves in boring ways. I mean, seriously, why are you gonna be boring? This is your last big fucking hurrah. Seriously, run up those credit card bills. Maybe, let's go something old school, traditional with some Harry Carey, that ritual suicide from Japan, or, go to an exotic island and throw yourself in the volcano for a better harvest for some people. Do some good with your work. Or, better yet, this is real fun. We're gonna go on an African safari. You can stuff your pockets full of meat, tease the lions, complete that shitty circle of life. But no, all my shitty fucking friends, you know what they do? No, unlike yesterday where we had the guy jump off the 5th floor in Brunswick Square. That was fun. No, my friends, not even that exciting. You know what they do? They just hang themselves. Do you know what the worst part about my friends hanging themselves is? I don't know if they meant to do it or just fucked up jerking off. Or jilling off. Women can be perverts too. I'm just gonna give you a couple of tips here. If you yourselves are dead set on going home for a little menage with a side order of autoerotic asphyxiation, maybe bring a friend. Team sports are way more fun than individual. You got somebody to spot you there like you're going to the gym. I assume. I've never been to a fucking gym. Look at this. Maybe, you know, if you're really dead set on it, write yourself a note. You know, just like like a suicide note. That way when your mom finds you dangling in her basement, instead of thinking, oh, my son died some sort of fucking pervert, no, instead he just went the way of the normal basement-dwelling weirdos, and she's rather relieved that it's finally happened. Or let's have a whole lot of fun, like write a note and hide it on your body. Something real simple that just says like, find the real killer, find the truth. That way they start thinking, oh man, he wasn't depressed. He wasn't a weird pervert. Like all the search results on his browser history came up. No, this is a conspiracy. Something wild and out there, like, I don't know, the moon landing, the flat earth, or Tupac's career. So anyway, yeah, mental health, everything. Let's go to a lighter topic, something a little less dark. How many of you out there are currently suffering from seasonal allergies? Just one of us? Fuck yeah, man! Woo! Get out that Sudafed. We're not cooking meth in St. John, we're just trying to deal with the air. Allergies are a real weird fucking thing. I'm going to tell you guys about how I developed an allergy. Well, not really developed, but discovered an allergy. It was not pleasant at all. So anyway, I just start seeing this girl, and things are going real well. And we, been hanging out a couple of times, and she decides me to take her back to her place, and things go real well. Like, at this point, I'm slightly more attractive too, so it's a lot more believable. This was like years ago. But anyway, she takes me home, and like, it goes so well. Like, we're talking butt stuff now. And anyway, I put in my good, solid 2.5 minutes worth of work, and I pass out. And I wake up a few hours later, and this at this point in my life was not something I did a lot, but I wake up, and from about here to about here, I'm just covered in a rash, and I'm itchy. And I don't mean like regular itchy. I'm itchy like I just fucked a bag of insulation. So I panic, which of course you would. And I start freaking out this girl, like, what did you give me? All this other stuff. A lot of yelling, like her roommates woke up, and I just pieced out and went to the hospital. And I get to the hospital, and this is like my first exposure to an STD. I am freaking the fuck out. And so they get me into the little room, and like everybody and their dog comes through to stare at my dick, which at this point in time is honestly rather impressive with how swollen it is. I mean, it's itchy, it's red, but it looked the best it ever had. I mean, if cell phones had cameras at this point, I would have wanted every one of those nurses handling it with their tiny hands to let me take a photo so that it would look good. But I didn't. So they go through and they start testing me out, and they're like swabbing me and all this stuff. And have any of you guys heard of sounding? No? We've got kind of oh, that was a real fast hand. I know, you're having some fun. So for those of you unfamiliar with sounding, that's when you take some sort of object and slide it up your dick hole for sexual pleasure. And I only learned this because the nurse doing this to me with the Q-tip was describing, some people really enjoy this part of this. And I'm like, no, I don't enjoy this at all. This is unpleasant and uncomfortable. I know it looks like I'm aroused, but this is really uncomfortable. And then something real terrible happens. She drops it. You know what happens when they drop a swab of stuff on you in the hospital? They don't just pick it up and say, we're just going to test for this stuff anyway. No, we've got to go back in again. Now, the first time she was a little nice and she applied a little bit of lube, but you can't apply too much because you don't want to fuck up the results. The second time I didn't get the niceties. It was just like in and out. I felt so dirty and used. And verified that I don't like things in my pee hole. But anyway, they leave me sitting there panicking for a while. They're running all these tests and everything. And then this old, like, Nurse Ratched kind of girl comes in, and she's like, let me see it. I'm like, fuck, why not? Like, everybody else has. She looks at it and she says, give me a minute. And she walks out. And then she comes back and she's got these 2 little pills and a glass of water. And she says, take this. I'm like, what is it? She said, don't worry about it, just take it. And I take it, I'm gonna be back in a couple of minutes. And she goes and she comes back and she says, how you feeling? I'm like, actually, a lot of the red's gone. Most of the bumps are nice and smooth and I'm not itchy. And she says, oh, well that's exactly what I thought. What were you doing earlier tonight? And I was like, I was having a little bit of fun, you know, with a girl. She's like, oh yeah? You allergic to hemp? And I'm like, I've never been allergic to hemp that I know of. She's like, all right, you should probably check to see if that's hemp lube you guys were using. So I get back to her place because she lets me in of all goddamn things. And we talk this out, and she was very reasonable about it. It felt almost like this had happened before. And that should have been the warning sign right then and there, but, I mean, 3 years later, it was another terrible breakup. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. That's my time.